welcome to Connolly Outdoors. Well, I want to tell you guys, give you guys some updates and give you some information as to what's going on. First of all, I want to introduce you to one of my new formats that I'm going to be using, moving forward. And that is, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to tell you guys some stories and updates and just things that are going on in my life, as well as camping stories which I've experienced in the past. I've been camping since I was 5 years old, and I've had lots of things happen while camping, and I thought it would be fun as a new thing on my channel to give you guys some camping stories. Now, how did I come up with this idea, or why am I doing this? Well, I'll tell you. I have another channel. It's called Tim Connolly Drums. And I'm a professional drummer, hence the drum kit behind me. This is where I film a lot of my drum videos, is at this drum kit. And a lot of my new videos, my new format with my drum channel is doing what I'm doing with you guys on Connolly Outdoors right now, which is just talking and telling stories. Now, I've been a professional drummer for 40 plus years. So I got tons and tons of road stories and gig stories and music stories, and it's endless amount of material on that channel. And I discovered 2 months ago that people really enjoy listening to the stories that I have to tell about my life as a musician. So I've had really great success on that channel, and I'll put a link in the description below. So you guys, if you're interested in hearing about a musician's life and a musician's gigs and all the different crazy things that I've been involved in as a career musician, you can check out my Tim Connolly Drums channel. Now, today, I was thinking to myself, I'm watching Steve Wallace, my favorite camper, my favorite YouTuber. And Steve is talking a lot in this particular video I'm watching. And not that he's telling a story, but he's just talking a lot during the video. Suddenly it dawned on me, I've had great success talking and telling stories and whatnot on my drum channel. And I want to tell you that before I changed my format a little bit, I'm still going to do drum lessons, gear reviews, reaction videos, all the things that I used to do on my drum channel. I'm still going to do that. But ever since I switched to my new format, which is the telling of the stories, my channel has really taken off, and I got about 1,000 subscribers in a month and a half to 2 months. Incredible. The most success that my channel has ever had. And that channel is monetized. This channel is not. I would like to monetize this channel as well, because camping is my hobby and I really love it, and I love getting out camping and just being outside. I love it. Now, drumming is my career. Being a musician is my career. I've been doing it my entire life, 50 plus years of drumming, and I love to play the drums. That's my job. This is my hobby. But what a better thing than to make money with your hobby. And that's why I'm trying to get this channel monetized as well. So I thought, once again, Steve inspires me indirectly, very indirectly, because I had already been doing this, like I said, on my other channel. But once again, I think to myself, why don't I just get on the camera and do what comes naturally, because I'm a natural storyteller, and just tell some camping stories. So I thought, why not? First of all, I'm going to give you an update. I did post something earlier on my community page, about my son Liam, who, if you follow my channel, you all know Liam, my camping buddy boy, my nature boy. He's studying environmental studies at university. We moved him in last Saturday, and he's gone. Very sad. We're all dealing with the fact that he is no longer living at home. He's living in residence. Now, obviously, he comes back and forth, because he's not going to be there for forever, so to speak. He's going to be there for about 8-9 months, and then he'll move back home and he'll be fine, but we're still going to see him and stuff. Now, he is still going to come home to camp. Not so much. He's talking, not so much talking about, oh, I got to come home to visit and see you guys. He says, I got to come home so that we can get out camping. So, as I mentioned in my post, my community post, September, I don't think we're going to be doing any camping just because he's adjusting. He's a varsity swimmer. He's adjusting to his swim training. He's going to be training for meets. He's adjusting to being in university and his environmental studies and all that. So it's going to take him a little time. But I have booked October. So we are going to be doing some late October fall camping. It's going to get cold. And we're going to be out in the hot tent with the hot stove. So we're super stoked about that. And then moving forward, we're hoping to get November, December, January, at least one video out. So it's going to be like it's always been, where we do at least one camp a month. But with my new format that I'm testing out today, I'm hoping that you guys will tune in and listen to some fun camping stories. So that's the update. Here's the story. I can remember when I was... I'm gonna say I was about 30 years old. So I'm almost 60 now. So 30 years ago, I took my daughters camping, and my one of my daughters appeared in a recent video. Actually, my daughter Alyssa. I took my daughter Alyssa and Lindsay camping, and I borrowed a tent because I can't remember exactly why. The tent that I had, I don't remember what happened to it, but I didn't have a tent. So I borrowed a tent from my friend Brian. I never checked the tent out, nothing. I just said, hey, Brian, do you have a tent I can borrow? I want to take my daughters camping. Okay. So he says, sure, I have a tent. So he loans it to me. Okay. So we get to the campsite. And of course, what's the first thing you almost always do at any campsite? Is set the tent up. We go to set the tent up. Well, this tent, oh my God, it was a canvas tent, but how old was it? It must have been 40 years old. It literally disintegrated. It fell apart as we were trying to put the damn thing up. And my daughters are like, what is going on? They didn't even understand what was going on. But I realized that where you put the poles in and where you put the pegs in, as soon as I put them in, it just fell apart. The canvas disintegrated. The whole tent literally just fell apart. It was a disaster. Now, the actual canvas part of the tent where there were no seams or there were no tent peg, the flap where you put the peg in, that's what fell apart. The actual tent itself stayed intact. Next thing you know, doesn't it start raining? And we're like, oh my God. So we get into the vehicle and we're trying to figure out, what are we gonna do? I contemplated just leaving because we don't have a tent. I think it was my oldest daughter, Alyssa, she's a very smart girl, said, why don't you take the tent and set it up over the back of the vehicle? Now, this is a time when all the YouTube camping that you see now, it wasn't prolific like it was back then. Of course, there was no YouTube. Barely anybody filmed any of these things except for family use. I didn't film any of my camping. I mean, we took pictures and stuff. I don't have any of them currently, but probably pictures were taken, but nothing was filmed. So my daughter gives me this idea, and the tent out of the back of the car was born. Because you see it now, where you can buy a tent that you put the back of your vehicle up, not a trunk per se, but like an SUV. You put that back up, like what I've seen Steve do, and I've seen Tony from Random Adventures do, and lots of other people, and I've done it myself, where you put the back of the SUV up, and you then put the tent off of the back of the vehicle. And it extends out, and you either have a tent with the vehicle, or you can tent it off in such a way that you can sleep in the vehicle. Well, that's what I did with my daughters. I ended up just sort of somehow, because it was already disintegrated, I had no choice. I ended up cutting some holes in the canvas and pegged it out in such a way that it was like a tarp type of a setup. and it was over the back of the vehicle that I had at the time. I can't remember what the vehicle was actually. Might have been a VW, a Volkswagen Jetta. No, it was a Golf, Volkswagen Golf, that's what it was. Volkswagen Golf. Put the trunk up, tarped out the tent. They ended up sleeping in the back, and I'm telling you, that's when it was born for me, the idea of putting a tent on the back of a vehicle. So I've known about that for a long time. Now it's become popular on YouTube. Like I said, Random Adventures, Tony, tons of other people that I've seen do these, either a tarp or a tent setup in relation to your vehicle. And now for you Canadians out there watching this, you can go on Canadian Tire or go to Canadian Tire, and you can buy a tent that is specifically designed to attach to the back of your vehicle. Now, like I said, I'm not taking credit. I didn't invent this. I'm sure this has happened to lots of people long before I did it 30 years ago. But I noticed that over the last few years, it's become popular. It's also a popular thing on YouTube. But at the time, I didn't know what to do. And then I thought, oh man, I've got to figure out some way. We can't sit in this car and I don't want to leave. So I ended up tarping the tent out in the back, and myself and the girls, we all slept in the back of the car. Actually, they may have only slept in the back. I may have still slept in the front. I can't remember. Alyssa or Lindsay, if you're watching this, remind me where I slept, because I can't remember. I know you two guys were in the back, and they thought it was fun. I remember them like, you know, little kids. They were young, they were little kids, and they were like, yay, camping. But now it's camping in the back of the car, which was an odd thing at the time, like I said. But nowadays, lots and lots of people do it. But I can remember my daughters thinking that this was great. Now, as I recall, again, my daughter's got to refresh my memory. We only spent one night. I don't think we were booked for any more than one night. I think it was just the one night, but it poured rain the whole time. The camp was a disaster in one sense, but not a disaster in another, because we ended up making it into something fun and something that is a memory for us. And here I am telling you guys the story about the rainy camp, you know. Now, I've always loved camping. I didn't get to camp a lot with my daughters when they were young. We did go out a few times, but not a lot. Not like how I camp now with my son. I mean, we're out year-round, constantly. There was a time, though, when Liam was almost going to not camp with me anymore at all. We were in Rockwood, in Guelph, and we camped. And at the end of the camp, we have this tradition where we talk about the camp. Liam and I, and at that time, my daughter Emma, my little daughter Emma, was there as well. And I think Liam was 12 or 13 at the time. And I said to Liam, what did you think of this camp? And he said something to me that broke my heart. He said, well, Dad, camp was fine. I enjoyed it, but I think this is going to be my last time camping. Say it isn't so. I was devastated. And I said to Emma, you're going to have to take over. And she's like, well, that's not really my thing. So then I thought, who am I going to camp with? Now, as fate would have it, that did not happen. It was not his last camp. He fell in love with nature. That's why he's in environmental studies at university. He fell in love with nature. Being cooped up in COVID changed the boy. It was almost like when we were locked inside, couldn't have anybody over, couldn't go anywhere, everything is closed, everything is shut down. It was like he was like a bear coming out of the den after sleeping in the winter. When he came out, he suddenly noticed the clouds, the sky, the trees, the earth, and everything changed. The trees, how green they were, how beautiful everything was. And he just went, what have I been missing? And he changed dramatically for the better. And this young boy that was into gaming and watching his shows and sitting on the couch and whatever, he changed. I mean, he was an athlete. He was always been a swimmer since he was like 5 years old. but he was not into nature. And then all of a sudden, this was the only good thing that came out of COVID. He comes out of his den and realizes, oh my God, what have I been missing? And then we would go for drives and he would take in everything. That's how it started, getting outside and going for drives. Then after the drives, he was talking to me about camping. I'm like, yeah, you want to go camping? Yeah. So Liam and I then started camping. Next thing you know, he starts up a camping, well, originally a hiking and nature channel, which evolved into a camping channel. Check out Liam's channel, Liam Connolly Outdoors. And from there, I started my channel over a year ago. It was a year ago, it'll be a year and a half ago. I think it was March of 2023 that I started this channel. And it's because of Liam, partially. Steve was my main influence, of course, Steve Wallace. And that's how it all began, and it's evolved into something that him and I share as a deep passion. We absolutely love camping. Anyways, I'm going to stop this now. I've been rambling for a while, but I just want to let you guys know, give you the update, a couple fun stories, and let you know there's going to be more of these stories coming your way. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, keep camping. See ya.